Tell me, aren't the African or white refugees real refugees? Isn't the so-called genocide happening in South Africa worthy of being reported? There are always people slandering me, saying that I'm implementing policies of racial segregation and building border walls. In fact, all my actions are aimed at protecting the American people. Isn't safeguarding the security and interests of our country the right thing to do? Now, I'm proposing to grant refugee status to the Afrikaners in South Africa. It's out of the spirit of humanitarianism, and it's the right thing to do. But the South African authorities actually accuse me, saying that my proposal is groundless. This is simply turning black into white. Those shameless people keep slandering me with all kinds of vicious words. They don't care about the lives and deaths of these refugees at all. All they care about is their own political interests. I'm telling you, I won't back down. I will continue to speak out for these South African refugees and let them feel warmth and hope. No one can stop me.
White people with less than $100,000 and that own a red hat. Make sense of this for me. America first, but make sense of this for me. The front half of a senator that's running this country, there's a good joke about Elon being in the back half with a puppet, is currently expediting refugees from South Africa to America with short and long-term housing while you're still poor. Before they helped you, like anybody with less than 100 grand is poor. You're still poor. I know you can, there's different levels. You're still in the group that is not their friend circle. Probably never will be. Likely will never be. Does it hurt or bother you that this group that's putting America first is now putting South Africans first, who, by the way, got there from where? Not America. They're actually Dutch, French, and German colonists. Make this one make sense to me. I feel like you can't just say, like, they're refugees, they need our help, because if that was the case, is it different because they're white? Just say that then. Just say that. What's that song by YG and Nipsey Hussle again?
Well, aren't these just the healthiest looking refugees I've ever seen? The most nourished, the most well kept, the cleanest, most well dressed refugees I've ever seen. I've never seen such stunningly healthy, good looking refugees in my life. Thank God America offered them refuge from South Africa. Thank God. They look like they could not have even stood another day there. Thank God.
So, African refugees, white South Africans, are now coming to America. And let me tell you, some Americans are not happy about it. The internet is on fire. People are arguing, asking, why are they even coming here? And others are saying, now you care about refugees? Let's talk about what's really going on, because this story is deeper than it looks. I'm telling you, this story is deeper than it looks. Let's kindly watch these trending videos. All credits to the owners. We come back with more commentary.
The more I think about these Afrikaners, the angrier I get. Right now, there is a 19-year-old DACA recipient who has been here since she was 4 years old, has been detained for almost a week. Monday will be a week. He's got her detained, and he's deporting United States citizens. People born in this fucking country. But he's flying white South Africans here on our dollar and paying for them to stay. He has a 19-year-old DACA recipient in custody, deporting United States citizens, firing over 300,000 Americans, coming up almost 83,000 veterans he's firing. In the next budget, gets rid of almost $700 billion in Medicaid. And he's purposely going out of his to go to South Africa, use whatever airplane they're going to use, probably fucking Air Force One or something bigger, with our money, and put these people up in houses across the country.
Do you think that this group of white South Africans should be considered refugees or not? Because, fun fact, they're actually the only refugees that America has allowed into the country since Trump took office. They have completely suspended their refugee program and even denied entry to people from war zones. So why did they accept 59 people from South Africa today? Well, some claim there is a genocide taking place in South Africa against white farmers in particular, and that the government recently passed laws that allows them to legally take land from white farmers at their discretion. Many white farmers claim that they are being politically and racially persecuted. Donald Trump himself has used these claims when being asked why he's granted them entry when he's refused others.
Farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me.
The South African government, on the other hand, disagrees with these claims, saying a refugee is someone being politically, religiously, or economically persecuted. They are not. Rather, South Africa's president said that the white minority make up the wealthiest in the country, earning on average more than 3 times as much as black South Africans. And according to a government 2017 land audit report, despite only making up roughly 7% of the population, white South Africans own 72% of South Africa's private farmland, while black South Africans make up more than 90% of the country's population, but only hold 4% of all privately owned land. In addition to this, a South African court recently ruled that the claims of white genocide in the country was, quote, clearly imagined and not real. However, the nuance there is that it doesn't mean that farm attacks and murders don't happen, because data from civil rights organizations show that they clearly do. But whether they constitute a genocide or even widespread racially motivated killings is heavily contended. In fact, the decision to class them as refugees is so divisive that it's got the freaking church picking sides. In a massive move, the Episcopal Church just terminated their 40-year-long partnership with the US government on refugee resettlement, saying that it refuses to support Trump's decision to prioritize white Afrikaners over other refugees. So the question is, what do you think?
To all of the South African Afrikaans refugees that are coming to America soon, I just want to let you know, as someone whose wife is Afrikaans, who's been to South Africa multiple times, you're gonna have a bad time. There's no white genocide happening in South Africa. You have crime that's happening as a result of racism-fueled generational economic inequality, the same thing that's happening in America. We're just a couple decades ahead of you on the unchecked capitalism timeline. But I have good news for you. You don't have to worry about the cheap exploited labor rising up against you anymore, because now that you're in America, you'll get to be the cheap exploited labor. If you were middle class or upper middle class in South Africa and you come to America, you're poor now. Like, really poor. You're not gonna have maids and gardeners and personal servants that you can pay $15 a day for. Now you get to be the cheap labor. But by all means, please come to America and experience the American capitalism that Elon Musk's been raving about to you. You'll probably love it. You know, what do I know? There's probably very little chance that you'll end up going back to South Africa in a year or two after realizing how overpriced and fucked up America is. I wouldn't even worry about that as a possibility. And if you think I'm being mean to these people because I think they're a bunch of racist, bigoted colonizers who wish they could go back to apartheid South Africa, it's just because I do think that. But to them, I say, welcome to the American dream. Please let me know when you've woken up from it.
The population in South Africa is 90% black, but black people in South Africa only own 4% of privately owned land in the entire country. But somehow Trump is convinced that these 59 white South African refugees deserve to be housed and fed on the taxpayer dollar in the United States because they were being discriminated against in their home country. It makes me so fucking sick to see that in the same week that a 16-year-old girl had her face slammed into the concrete by ICE because she was brought here as a minor into the United States by her parents, that our taxpayer dollars are simultaneously being spent on an expedited refugee process for white people in South Africa, where they only make up 10% of the population, but they own 96% of the fucking land. Are you kidding me? And their justification is that they believe that white people are being genocided in South Africa. So all of a sudden they have a problem with genocide. Meanwhile, the United States is literally funding a genocide in the West Bank. And for the record, that's not even happening in South Africa. It's been disproven and debunked multiple times. And it's just Elon Musk spreading right-wing bullshit, white supremacist bullshit, as usual. That's all this is. It's just white supremacist bullshit all over again. I'm so tired.
All right, here is the story. A group of Afrikaner refugees, white people from South Africa, are starting to arrive in the US. Some say they are running from crime, violence, or fear of attacks back home. They want safety. They are asking America to take them in. Okay? Now here is the part that's making people mad. When black or brown refugees try to come to the US, a lot of people say no. They say no. They say we can't take care of the whole world. They should fix their own country. They are not safe to bring in. Oh, like seriously? But now white South Africans are arriving, and suddenly some of those same people are saying we should help them. They are Christian. They are like us. Oh wow. You see the double standard? That's what's making people angry. That's what's really making people angry. It's not about whether these refugees need help. Maybe they do. But the problem is how differently they are being treated compared to others. And you know what? Some Americans are calling it out. They are saying, so now we care about refugees just because they are white? Where was all this sympathy when Haitians or Syrians showed up? Why do white refugees get better treatment? And honestly, they have a point. Yeah, they really have a point. America has a long history of picking and choosing who is welcome and who is not. And it usually comes down to race, religion, or money. We all know this. Now, let me be real. If someone is in danger, anyone, they deserve safety. But it has to be equal. You can't say yes to one group and no to the other just because of skin color. That's not protection, that's prejudice. So now people are watching, they want to see, will these white South African refugees get special treatment? Or will the US treat all people the same no matter where they come from or what they look like? People are watching. People are opening their eyes. Oh my God, this is fire. So let me know what you think. So what do you think? Is this fair? Is it racism in plain sight, or is America just helping where it can? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if you believe in equal rights for all refugees. And subscribe for more real simple reactions to big news. Catch you next time. Bye.